Welcome, thrill seekers, to another electrifying installment of Real Talk, your go-to podcast for all things horror. Here, we plunge headfirst into the twisted realms of terror cinema, dissecting bone-chilling narratives and exploring the darkest recesses of fear. Today, our haunted gaze falls upon Wolf Creek, a film that may not ascend to the towering heights of horror greatness, but still manages to leave its mark, earning a respectable 6.5 out of 10 stars. As we venture into the heart of Wolf Creek, we'll peel back the layers of its narrative, examining its strengths and weaknesses, and uncover the spine-chilling surprises that lie in wait. From the eerie isolation of the Australian Outback to the relentless pursuit of its malevolent antagonist, Mick Taylor, this film delivers a visceral experience that will leave you on the edge of your seat. We'll also take a look at the performances of the main cast members, analyze their portrayal of characters thrust into a nightmare scenario, and the evolution of their arcs throughout the film. But our exploration won't end there. We'll dive into dissecting the underlying themes and symbolism woven into the fabric of the film, from the primal instincts of survival to the moral ambiguity of human nature. This film offers a chilling reflection of society's darkest facets, and as we scrutinize its cinematography, sound design, and pacing, we'll unravel the intricate levels of terror that sets Wolf Creek apart from its peers. So buckle up, dear listeners, as we embark on a journey into the heart of darkness, where fear reigns supreme and nightmares come to life. For a wild ride as we dive into the Aussie horror flick, Wolf Creek. Picture this, you've got 3 backpackers, Liz, Christy, and Ben, venturing into the Australian Outback for a bit of an adventure. Sounds like the start of a great trip, right? Well, hold on to your hats because things take a sharp left turn when they cross paths with a friendly local named Mick Taylor. He seems harmless enough, offering a helping hand in the middle of nowhere, but, spoiler alert, this ain't your average Good Samaritan situation. Nope, in Wolf Creek, what starts as a gesture of goodwill quickly morphs into a nightmare. Stranded in the Outback, Liz, Christy, and Ben find themselves hunted by Mick, who's got a few screws loose and a penchant for sadistic games. It's survival of the fittest out there, folks, and let me tell you, these 3 aren't exactly equipped for a showdown with a psycho in the wilderness. But hey, Wolf Creek isn't just about blood and guts, though there is plenty of that. It's a deep dive into the human psyche, exploring themes of fear, resilience, and the dark side of human nature. It's like a crash course in Survival Instincts 101, except instead of a classroom, you're in the middle of nowhere with a killer on your tail. So grab your popcorn and get ready to squirm, because Wolf Creek may not be winning any awards for subtlety, but it's sure to leave you on the edge of your seat. Just remember, if you find yourself stranded in the Outback, maybe think twice before accepting help from strangers. Unpack what makes Wolf Creek's plot and storytelling tick. So strap in, because we're in for a wild ride through that Australian Outback. First off, let's talk strengths. One of the undeniable strong suits of Wolf Creek is its setting. The vast, unforgiving landscape of the Outback serves as more than just a backdrop. A character in its own right. The isolation and desolation it evokes add a palpable sense of dread and unease to the story, amplifying the tension at every turn. From the moment our trio of backpackers set foot in this harsh environment, you can't help but feel a sense of foreboding lurking in the shadows. And then there's Mick Taylor, our antagonist extraordinaire, played to chilling perfection by John Jarrett. Mick is the embodiment of pure, unadulterated terror. What sets Mick apart from your run-of-the-mill horror villains is his unpredictability. He's not just a mindless killing machine, he's cunning, manipulative, and utterly remorseless. Every encounter with him is fraught with tension, as you never quite know what he's capable of next. Jarrett's portrayal is so convincing that you can't help feel a chill down your spine whenever he's on screen. But as with any film, Wolf Creek isn't without its weaknesses. Some viewers might find the pacing a bit sluggish, particularly the first act. While the slow burn approach works well to establish mood and atmosphere, it might test patience of those looking for more immediate thrills. Additionally, the film's climax, while intense, may leave us feeling a bit underwhelmed. After building up tension to a fever pitch, the resolution feels somewhat abrupt and lacking in payoff. But what truly sets Wolf Creek apart from its peers in the horror genre is the film's commitment to realism and authenticity. Unlike many horror films that rely on supernatural elements or outlandish premises, Wolf Creek grounds itself firmly in reality. These are ordinary people thrust into an extraordinary nightmare, facing threats that feel uncomfortably plausible. The terror isn't confined to the screen. It seeps into your bones, reminding us that the darkest horrors can be found in some of the most mundane places. Wolf Creek also subverts expectations at every turn. Just when you think you've got the story figured out, it throws a curveball that leaves you reeling. Whether it's a shocking twist or a gut-wrenching revelation, the film keeps you on your toes, never allowing you to get too comfortable. It's a sense of unpredictability that really keeps us gripped from start to finish, ensuring Wolf Creek has more than just a run-of-the-mill horror flick. So while Wolf Creek has its flaws, its strengths do outweigh them. With the chilling setting, the unforgettable antagonist, and a commitment to realism, it stands as a well-done film entry into the horror genre. So if you're looking for spine-tingling thrill ride through an unforgiving wilderness, then this is just the movie for you. But remember to tread carefully, because you never know what horrors await in the shadows of the Outback. Like here on the performances in Wolf Creek, and dissect the character dynamics that drive this gripping tale of survival. First and foremost, start by giving credit where it's due, and that's the cast that delivers some truly memorable performances here that elevate the film beyond typical horror fare. Leading the pack, though, is John Jarratt as Mick Taylor. Jarratt's portrayal of this sadistic hunter is mesmerizing. He brings a chilling authenticity to the role, imbuing Mick with a sense of menace that continues to linger. Every smirk, every menacing glance sends shivers down your spine, and it cements Mick as a very memorable villain in the annals of horror cinema. And opposing Mick are three protagonists, Liz, Christy, and Ben, portrayed by Cassandra McGrath, Kesty Marassi, and Nathan Phillips, respectively. While they may not be as flashy as Mick, this trio delivers solid performances that really ground the film in emotional depth. McGrath shines as Liz, the resilient and resourceful backbone of the group. Her journey from wide-eyed adventurer to determined survivor is compelling and heartbreaking to watch. Marassi brings a vulnerability to Christy, whose initial naivety gives way to a steely resolve in the face of the danger. And Phillips, rounding out the trio with his portrayal of Ben, who transforms from carefree backpacker to hardened warrior, mirrors Liz's own arc. And what sets these characters apart is their believability. These aren't just stock horror movie archetypes. These are fully fleshed out individuals with hopes, fears, and flaws. And the film takes its time to establish their relationships and dynamics, allowing us to become invested in their journey long before the horror even begins. Liz, Christy, and Ben feel like real people thrust into this unimaginable nightmare. And it's their humanity that makes their plight all the more harrowing. And as the story unfolds and the stakes escalate, we witness these characters undergo profound transformations. They're forced to confront their deepest fears and darkest impulses, testing the limits of their endurance and morality. Liz, in particular, emerges as a beacon of resilience, her unwavering determination to survive driving the narrative forward. The dynamics between the characters shift and evolve as they band together to outwit their relentless pursuer, highlighting the power of camaraderie in the face of adversity. So these performances are a testament to their talent and the dedication of the cast. From John Jarrett to the nuanced performances of Cassandra McGrath, Kesty Morassi, and Nathan Phillips, each actor here brings their A game to the table, ensuring that their characters feel authentic and relatable. And this commitment to character development and dynamics elevates Wolf Creek from simple horror movie to an actual riveting psychological thriller in some instances. We can pull back the layers and uncover some themes and symbolisms that lurk beneath the surface of Wolf Creek. At its core, the film grapples with the primal instinct for survival in the face of unfathomable danger. The vast, unforgiving landscape of the Australian Outback serves as a metaphor for the harsh realities of life, where the line between civilization and wilderness blurs, and the rules of society no longer apply. As our protagonists find themselves thrust into a battle for survival against the sadistic Mick Taylor, they're forced to confront their deepest fears and darkest impulses. The film explores the depths of human resilience and the lengths we'll go in order to protect ourselves and those we care about. Wolf Creek also delves into the darker aspects of human nature, shining a light on the capacity for cruelty and violence that lies dormant within us. Mick Taylor serves as the embodiment of this darkness, a predator who revels in the suffering of others. His actions are not driven by logic or reason, but by a primal urge to dominate and destroy. Through his character, the film raises questions about the nature of evil and that thin line that separates civilization from savagery. Beyond its exploration of survival and human nature, Wolf Creek also touches on broader societal and psychological issues. The film is a commentary on the dangers of unchecked masculinity and the toxic attitudes that can arise from it. Mick embodies a hyper-masculine archetype, characterized by aggression, dominance, and a disregard for the rights and autonomy of others. His treatment of the trio reflects a broader pattern of violence and abuse that permeates society, highlighting the need for greater awareness and accountability. And Wolf Creek then addresses themes of isolation and vulnerability, particularly in the context of travel and exploration. The Outback, with its vast expanses and sparse population, serve as the perfect setting for a tale of survival horror. It underscores the sense of alienation and helplessness that can accompany journeys into unfamiliar territory, reminding us of the dangers that lurk beyond the safety of our comfort zones. Making Wolf Creek more than the run-of-the-mill horror film, it is a thought-provoking exploration of survival, human nature, and the darker aspects of society. Through its rich symbolism and thematic depth, the film does challenge us to confront uncomfortable truths about the world that we live in and the depths of our own psyche. It's a harrowing journey into the heart of darkness, where the horrors of the human soul are laid bare for all to see. Next up, we want to turn our attention to the masterful use of cinematography and visuals in Wolf Creek, and how these elements contribute to its immersive atmosphere and spine-chilling scares. From the very first frame, Wolf Creek establishes a sense of foreboding through its expertly crafted visuals. The cinematography here captures the vast, desolate expanse of the Australian Outback with breathtaking beauty and haunting isolation. Wide shots of the sun-scorched landscape evoke a sense of awe and dread, emphasizing the protagonist's vulnerability in the face of nature's raw power. The use of natural light here also enhances the film's realism, casting long shadows and bathing the wilderness in an eerie glow that heightens the sense of unease. But it's not just these sweeping landscapes that leave an impression. It's the way the camera also captures intimate moments of terror that truly sets the film apart. The filmmakers employ a variety of techniques, from handheld camera work to static shots, to create a sense of immediacy and immersion. Close-ups of the characters' faces reveal every nuance of fear and desperation, allowing viewers to empathize with their plight on a visceral level. And when it comes to the more intense moments, the camera doesn't hold back, plunging us into the heart of the action with an unflinching intensity. In addition to the cinematography, Wolf Creek makes effective use of lighting to really heighten the tension and create atmosphere. The contrast between light and shadow is used to great effect here, with scenes bathed in darkness, punctuated by sudden bursts of illumination. The interplay of light and shadow here adds this layer of visual interest and unpredictability, keeping us on the edge as we anticipate what lurks in the shadows. And you can't forget the film's visual elements, which contribute to its impact. One standout example is the iconic Wolf Creek crater, a real-life geological formation that serves as a pivotal location in the film. The crater's otherworldly appearance, a gaping maw of jagged rock and swirling mist, adds an element of surreal horror to the proceedings, signaling to the viewers that they've entered a realm where the rules of society no longer apply. Wolf Creek demonstrates a mastery of cinematography and visual storytelling that elevates it above standard horror fare. Through its breathtaking landscapes, intimate camera work, and striking use of light and shadow, the film creates an atmosphere of palpable dread and unease. And with standout visual elements like the Wolf Creek crater, it leaves a lasting impression that lingers long after the film ends. How does Wolf Creek use sound design and music to amplify the tension and terror lurking within the film? From the eerie silence of the Outback to the bone-chilling sounds of Mick Taylor's sadistic pursuit, Wolf Creek utilizes sound to build tension and enhance the horror experience. The film's sound design is a kind of symphony of dread, with every creak, rustle, and whisper adding to the unease that permeates every frame. Whether it's a distant howl of a coyote or the ominous rumble of thunder on the horizon, each sound ratchets up the tension, keeping us on the edge and primed for the scares that are to come. But it's more than just ambient sound that contributes to the atmosphere. It's the way they're utilized to punctuate key moments of horror. For example, the film's jump scares, which are expertly crafted to send shivers down your spine. The sound plays a crucial role in these moments, with sudden spikes in volume and intensity catching you off guard and eliciting a visceral reaction. Whether it's a jarring blast of a car horn or the blood-curdling scream of a victim, these audio cues are designed to jolt us out of our seats and into the heart of the terror. In addition to the sound design, Wolf Creek makes effective use of music to enhance the experience. The film's score, composed by Francois Tétaz, is a blend of atmospheric drones, eerie melodies, and pulse-pounding rhythms that heighten the sense of dread and anticipation. From ominous synthesizers to dissonant strings, the music sets the tone for each scene, signaling to us that danger lurks around every corner. And one of the standout examples of the film's effective use of music is the main theme. It's a haunting melody that serves as a leitmotif for Mick Taylor's reign of terror. The recurring motif underscores the sense of menace that surrounds Mick, reminding viewers of the ever-present threat he poses to our protagonists. So Wolf Creek demonstrates a keen understanding of the power of sound and music in building tension and enhancing a horror experience. Through its sound design and atmospheric score, the film immerses us in a world that is palpably dreadful and very uneasy, ensuring that every scare lands with maximum impact. So the next time you find yourself alone in the dark with only the sounds of the night for company, beware, for in the wilderness of the Outback, the howl of the wind may not be the only thing you hear. Let's hit the gas and dive into the pacing and editing of Wolf Creek and how these elements shape the suspense and audience engagement throughout the film. First, pacing. Wolf Creek takes a very deliberate approach to pacing. opting for a slow burn that gradually builds tension and suspense over the course of the first act of the film. While some may find that slow start a bit challenging, particularly in this first act, this methodical pacing serves as a crucial purpose in establishing mood and atmosphere. By taking its time to set the stage and introduce us to the characters and their surroundings, the film creates a sense of anticipation that does pay off as the story unfolds. As the film progresses and the pacing picks up, ramping up the tension with each passing minute, the gradual escalation keeps us on the edge as we wait with bated breath for the next twist or turn in the narrative. And when the action finally kicks into high gear, the payoff is all the more satisfying, as that tension that's been building throughout the film reaches a fever pitch. But pacing isn't just about how fast or slow the story unfolds, it's also about how well the film flows from one scene to the next. And this is where the editing comes into play. Wolf Creek features some notable editing choices that contribute to the overall flow and impact of the film. A standout example is the use of parallel editing to create tension and suspense. By cutting between multiple storylines happening simultaneously, the film keeps us engaged and invested in the fates of all of the characters, while also heightening the sense of urgency and danger. The film also employs some clever editing techniques to maximize those impacts of the scares and action sequences. Quick cuts, tight close-ups, rapid pacing create a sense of disorientation and chaos during the intense peril, immersing us in the heart of the action and leaving us breathless with anticipation. So Wolf Creek demonstrates this keen understanding of pacing and editing and utilizing these elements to craft a gripping and suspenseful narrative that keeps audiences on the edge of our seats from start to finish. And by taking a deliberate approach to pacing and employing effective editing techniques, the film creates a sense of immersion and engagement that elevates it above the standard horror fare. So if you're in the mood for pulse-pounding thrill ride through the Australian Outback, this might be the movie for you. Just remember to hold on tight, because once the terror starts, there is no turning back. Now it's time to turn down the lights and get into the nitty-gritty of Wolf Creek's scare factor and gore quotient. Brace yourself, because this is where the film gets intense. First, let's talk about the effectiveness of the scares. Wolf Creek excels at building tension and suspense, gradually ratcheting up the fear factor until it reaches a crescendo of terror. The film employs a variety of scare tactics, from subtle psychological horror to heart-pounding jump scares, keeping us on the edge of our seats throughout the film. Whether it's the eerie silence of the Outback or the sudden appearance of Mick Taylor lurking in the shadows, Wolf Creek knows how to send shivers down your spine. But what about the gore? Well, let's just say Wolf Creek isn't for the faint of heart. The film doesn't shy away from graphic violence and gore, with several scenes that are not for the squeamish. From brutal acts of torture to grisly displays of mutilation, Wolf Creek pulls no punches when it comes to depicting the horrors inflicted upon its unfortunate victims. It's visceral, it's unflinching, and it is guaranteed to leave a lasting impression. However, what truly sets the film apart is its ability to balance these graphic elements with moments of genuine psychological horror. Sure, the blood and guts may be stomach-churning, but it's the sense of dread that permeates every frame that leaves the biggest impact. The film doesn't solely rely on shock value to scare its audience. It knows that the true horror comes from what you can't see, from the fear of the unknown lurking just out of sight. Wolf Creek delivers a potent blend of scares and gore that is sure to leave horror fans trembling with joy. With its expertly crafted suspense, well-timed jump scares, and unflinching depiction of violence, it is a roller coaster ride of terror from start to finish. So if you're looking for a horror movie that will leave you sleeping with the lights on, well, this just might be the movie for you. Just be warned, once you enter the wilderness of the Outback, there's no telling what horrors await you. This episode, Wolf Creek delivers a visceral and unrelenting journey into the heart of terror, propelled by its haunting atmosphere, memorable performances, and relentless suspense. While it's a slow start and its graphic violence may not be for everyone, its ability to balance the psychological horror with its gut-wrenching gore make it a standout entry in the genre. If you're a fan of survival horror with a healthy dose of dread, Wolf Creek is definitely worth a watch. I encourage all listeners to share their thoughts and recommendations for future episodes. Whether you loved Wolf Creek or have your own favorite horror films you'd like us to discuss, we want to hear from you. Reach out to us at therealrealtalk@gmail.com or connect with us over on Instagram and Threads at realrealtalk. And before we sign off, let me leave you with a teaser for our next episode. We'll be diving into the chilling world of 1989's The Intruder, a film that will make you question who or what lurks in the shadows. So grab your popcorn, hold on to your seats, because things are about to get spooky. Until next time, stay spooky, and thank you, everyone.